welcome to a new reading vlog. I thought I would open this up real quick. It is Tuesday, no, it's Monday, Jesus. It's Monday, June 15th. I am reading Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare. This is the book I decided to pick up after finishing Snow Like Ashes. I am only 40 pages in. Yeah, I've only read chapter 1. Can you believe chapter 1 is 40 pages? Anyway, I am enjoying it. Nothing's happened so far, but I will say it is, I'm gonna have to draw myself a family map that it's one thing to be able to understand all the characters in Mortal Instruments and all the characters in Infernal Devices because they're separate time periods, but now we are building off the characters of Infernal Devices, which I reread those fairly recently, and now I have to remember who is who, which I do, but now I have to figure out whose kid is whose kid, and it's confusing. And I tried looking up family maps of Shadowhunters families. Have you ever looked at those? Because they are insane. There's so many characters in these books. But this is following Cordelia Carstairs, who is not directly related to any Carstairs we've met so far, but I think she will be the line that eventually leads to Emma, if I am correct. I don't know. And then we also have Tessa and Will's kids, which are James and Lucy. We have met so far, and then hold on, I took notes on my phone trying to figure out who was who. I'm literally, like I said, making myself a little map. And then Cece or Cecily, I don't know how to say her name, Cecilia and Gabriel Lightwood, they have a son named Christopher. They might have other kids too, but I haven't met them. And then Charlotte and Henry have Matthew Fairchild, who is parabatai with James Herondale, which is Will and Tessa's kid. And then Gideon and Sophie have Thomas Lightwood. And it's a lot. I think I had a hard time figuring out who Matthew was because I didn't think Charlotte and Henry's son would be so close in age to Will and Tessa's son. I want to kind of figure out the blanks in that little part, like between Infernal Devices and this, because Charlotte is pregnant at the end of the Infernal Devices, and I know she was only a few years older than like Will and Jem. That means Will and Tessa must have had a kid pretty early on. Like, they're parabatai, so I'm guessing they're only 2-3 years apart, so that means by the time Tessa was 18 or 19, she was already having James, which is kind of crazy. Like, I wonder, did they get married right after? And if so, can I have a flashback scene of that day? Because I'd like to be present for that. But yeah, I am figuring it out. I expect this book to fully break my heart. I don't think I've showed you this art. I don't know if this is a first edition thing, collector's first edition thing, or if it's in all the copies, but this little piece of art is so beautiful. I don't know who is who yet. I think this is Cordelia because she's described as being Persian. Yes, she is from Persia because their handmaiden speaks Persian, which is pretty cool. I know literally nothing about Persia, but maybe I'll be able to learn a bit about the culture in this book, which is pretty cool. I think it is Cordelia on the cover here. She does have a sword. I wonder if it will be the Carstairs sword that Emma has. I feel like I just cracked a code in my head with that one. I think that's a good guess. That might be something that's already confirmed, and I haven't seen anything about this book other than the cover and stuff. So I'm very excited to be reading this. I am also still listening to The Proposal by Jasmine Gilroy. Loving it. It's so funny. I think this couple has a lot of potential. Right now they're both being very not serious, but I feel like something's just gonna happen and they're gonna flip and realize that they love each other and they can't live without each other. So that's gonna be fun. I'm almost done with it. Might finish it today, but I'm also kind of more in the mood to read this. Right now I'm watching BookTube. I'm watching Kevin from The Irish Reader read 50 Shades of Grey for the first time, so that's pretty fun. But yeah, that is my little update. That was a long update, but I will update you when I'm farther into this one because I'm sure I'm gonna have a lot to say. Hello, an update from a couple hours later. I just started reading Chain of Gold a little bit more, and I figured it out. Matthew is Henry and Charlotte's second child. That is why he's so much closer in age to James and Lucy and Will and Tessa's kids. That makes a lot more sense. I was gonna be a little like surprised if Will and Tessa had a kid like 2 years after the events of Infernal Devices. I'm slowly putting together a family map in my phone, and when I figure everything out, I'll share it in this video. But there's a lot of characters. There's so many characters. But I'm having fun. They're at a ball. How fun is that? And then I'm sure there'll be some demons and stuff soon too. I figured out the first child of Henry and Charlotte is Charles. So Charles Fairchild. And he is a couple years older. He's already engaged. He is set to be the consul a couple years whenever his mom, Charlotte, steps down. I'm slowly putting together the trees. Hello, so I'm only 80 pages in, but I have to update because Will and Tessa, I just had a scene together and it just made me so happy. I love these characters so much, and to get to see them 20 years later, married and happy and just so amazing, and I love them so much. And it was a cute scene, and they mentioned Jem, which I can't even think about that too. Like, I love them so much. I hope there's a lot of little scenes like this. Like, I know this is a book that focuses on the next generation of Shadowhunters, but I really want some Will and Tessa scenes like this. They're so sweet. Also, Will, like 20 years older with like speckles of gray in his hair, and like, he's a look, and we all know he would age very well. Like, it's Will Herondale, let's just be real. So this is fun. I love seeing them all grown up and happy still, and they've been married, and he calls her he says, my lovely wife. Like, they're really married. It's the cutest thing ever. We met Grace Blackthorn. We know the Blackthorn family, I think mostly just in the Dark Artifices with Jules, who Jules is like probably my favorite character in the Shadowhunter world, or at least one of them. Grace though, I don't trust her. She was raised by Tatiana Lightwood, who I don't really like, because she's nothing like the Lightwood brothers, so I don't really like her. She seems to be in love with Grace. I'm not sure how real those feelings are yet. I don't know, I just don't trust Grace for some reason, so we'll see where that goes. I'm gonna go keep reading. I feel like I'm updating a lot, but there's just so much happening already. Hello, a reading update. It is Wednesday, just about noon. I ended up finishing the Proposal audiobook last night. Really loved that book. It was so cute, and I just think there was a lot of like great chemistry between the characters, and I really loved that they both had this like mentality that they're like, oh, this is just a casual thing, we're not really like dating or anything, and then they both came to these like really fast realizations. They're like, well, actually I'm in love with the other person. And like, it was so funny for both of them, that moment when they realized how they really felt. It was just such a fun read, and I really loved it. I was laughing throughout the whole thing, and it was great. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. I don't know if I like it better than The Wedding Date. I feel like they're pretty equal, and I did love seeing the characters from The Wedding Date in The Proposal. That was fun. She has a couple other books, I think Wedding Party, and then there's a Christmas one, and then Party of Two is coming out this summer. I have all 3 of those on hold at the library. I like even put a hold on the book that isn't out yet. So when those come in, I will definitely be reading them. I'm very excited. As for Chain of Gold, I just read a little bit last night. I'm about 140 pages in. It's getting exciting. There's some demons, unexplained demon attacks, because, you know, Shadowhunters. Not a lot has happened yet though. I'm slowly building the family map in my head. I'm not quite there yet. I think part of it is that I keep mixing up Gabriel and Gideon. Is that even their names? The 2 Lightwood brothers from the Infernal Devices. I had problems keeping them apart in Infernal Devices. Why would they both have G names and be basically the same person? That's just not fair. I cannot keep them apart. So I'm having a hard time keeping their kids apart and remembering who's married to Sophie and who's married to Will's sister. But I'm hoping on reading a lot more of this today. It's only noon, so I would like to start reading some more of this. My problem is I have such a hard time focusing on reading in the day, and especially when like no one else in my house is reading ever, so I always get distracted by everything else. But I want to read today and not wait until 10 o'clock tonight to start reading. Also, have already started another audiobook because, believe it or not, another hold came in from the library because I I put so many books on hold, but I started The Honey Don't List by Christina Lauren. I saw this in a Haley and Bookland video, and I'm already 2 hours in, and I'm really loving it. So it follows a couple who are like an HGTV personality couple. They have like a home renovation show, and they just wrote a book, and they're going on book tour. And their relationship, they've been married for 25 years, but is really hitting a wall right now. He's cheating on her, and she seems like a terrible person in general, but they're trying to hide all that because the book that they just released is a book on their marriage, and it'd be an awkward time to announce a split up. So they're trying to keep everything normal, but really the main characters are actually each of their assistants, and they are trying to keep everything calm and just like get through the book tour, and they'll figure out what to do after that. I really like the main character so far. She is very lost and doesn't really know what she's doing with her life, but she's got a good snarkiness to her, which I like, and it'll be really interesting to see how this turns out. I really hope it does focus on the assistants a lot more, because the couple that's like the HGTV type of personality are so annoying. It's sad to see how much they have changed, because like the main character has known them since way before they were, you know, this big celebrity couple, and it's obvious that this celebrityness of their lives has really changed them and how they behave and how they act with each other, and that's really sad to see. Also, they're both just kind of annoying and entitled, so we'll see where that goes, but I am very much enjoying it. It's a very short audiobook. I only have 5.5 hours left, and I listen on double time, so like I'm kind of thinking of finishing this today, if not today, tomorrow. So I will give you an update on that later. For now, I'm going to go work out, and then I will read some Chain of Gold. An update. It is Thursday morning-ish, and I have just finished The Honey Don't List by Christina Lauren, and I really loved it. It was such a cute story. I loved the main character, and there was also some really interesting representation. She had dystonia in her hands, which is like uncontrollable movement that you usually see with like Parkinson's disease, but she had it sort of on its own, and I thought that was really interesting. I've definitely never read a book where that is represented in a character, so I really liked that. And then I also just really loved the relationship, and I also think it really showed a lot of personal development, especially for her, which I thought was really cool. I will say it was so annoying to have to read the Melly character. She was like the HGTV host wife. I hated her. She was so manipulative, so abusive to her, and like she was such a terrible person. And in the end, you see this article where she basically just like wipes it all away, says like, oh yeah, she has been helping me this whole time do all the designs and and she just like gets out of it, and it's not fair. Like, she was so terrible. But anyway, I really enjoyed the book. I'm probably gonna give it 4 out of 5 stars. Like, it was really good, but it's not like one that I'm gonna remember forever, but I did really enjoy it. As for my next audiobook, I don't know what I'm going to pick up just quite yet, but today I'm going to try and focus on reading Chain of Gold. I'm actually exactly 200 pages in, and no romance has happened yet, which I find strange for a Cassandra Clare book. I feel like romance is usually pretty big forefront in these books, and that just hasn't happened yet. And I also can't predict who it'll happen with, which is weird, because like, I mean, for the most part you see Simon and Izzy, you see Jason Clary, and you're like, yeah, this makes sense. But I don't know who could be together in this book, and it's kind of exciting. I want to keep reading. The only almost romance right now is James and Grace Blackthorne, but I don't trust Grace at all. I don't know what it is, but I think she's evil. I'm gonna go read that some more today, and I will update you when I am farther into it. Hello, it is still Thursday. It is about 4 o'clock. I just wanted to do a quick update. I have only read about 60 pages in Chain of Gold today, mostly because I got distracted by this podcast called Remember Twilight, where they're reading Twilight chapter by chapter and like giving commentary on it, and it's absolutely incredible and so much fun, and I'm laughing so much. Anyways, though, I have read some of Chain of Gold. There has been one couple that has come up that I think could be something developing, which I think would be real cute. It is a very like person A is grumpy and sad, and person B is like a big puppy, and I love it. But other than that, there has been some stuff developing within like the demon world. We saw Ragnar Fell, missed him, he's pretty cool, and we saw another warlock whose name is escaping my mind right now, but it has been very interesting. I'm kind of getting like Stranger Things vibes from this one. There is this, like, James can see into this demon realm, which to me is kind of like the Upside Down, and he is able to travel through it, and he can see people being pulled into it, and I just, for some reason, to me it just sort of sounds like the Upside Down in Stranger Things. Also, the character Barbara Lightwood was kind of pulled into this world, and she was hurt by the demon there, and it just makes me think of Barb in Stranger Things, which is such a random connection to make in my head. But that's where I'm at right now. I'm not going to do any major spoilers for Chain of Gold in this vlog, just because I know this is such a new book. But yeah, lots is happening. Well, at least a lot is starting to happen. I'm like almost halfway through, and I still feel like there's so much to happen. But this, again, this is the first of a series, I guess, so I guess it makes sense that it's all very setting up the whole plot. Oh, I just realized I'm going to have to wait for the next book. Why do I do this? Anyway, that is my little update. I just wanted to tell you about my Stranger Things weird theory connection. I am gonna go work out and then make dinner, but I will read some more of this tonight. I also did pick out what audiobook I'm going to read. I picked out Conventionally Yours by Annabeth Albert. I have read one other book by Annabeth Albert before, and I really enjoyed it, so I'm gonna go ahead and pick this one up. I believe from the brief synopsis that I read, it is about two boys who are on their way to a convention. I'm assuming a Comic-Con convention. What other ones are there? And they don't like each other, but they grow to fall in love, which honestly, could there be a more perfect book? I'm not sure, but I am going to go ahead and start that today too, probably. But other than that, that is my update. I'm going to go work out, and I will update you later. Hello, one more update from Thursday, because I am on page 313 of Chain of Gold, on chapter 13 actually, and I have thoughts. One, don't trust Grace still. In fact, I have good reason not to trust Grace at this point. I'm not entirely sure what the details of that reason is, but definitely she's evil. Two, there has been a couple development, an unexpected pairing, but I don't know, and it's not gonna last, and I think it's already over. It's confusing, and I'm not gonna say anything because I don't want spoilers. But three, okay, Charles Fairchild, he is not great. He's in fact very cold-hearted at this point, and I don't understand what his plan is, where he's coming from, what's going on. And you cannot tell me that the child of Henry and Charlotte is this kid. Like, he's not good, and I will not believe that someone not good has come from Charlotte and Henry. Like, Charlotte would not raise a son like this. I'm just saying it. Henry would not raise a son like this. Like, I don't understand. I don't get it. He's so bad. And like, Matthew is got his problems. There has not been a single scene where he is not drinking, so that needs to be addressed. But like, he is good at heart, even if he tries to put off this air that he's not, you know, classic Herondale move, but though he's a Fairchild, but he's good when it comes down to it. And Charles, I don't know if there's some other plan going on. I know he wants to take after his mom and be the next consul. This is not the way to do it. Climbing your way to the top, being engaged to whoever you want because you think it'll get you higher, even though the fact that you don't want to be engaged. I'm starting to have some theories too about other couples, and I don't have any big theories on why these demon attacks are happening. But one other part of the story, with the fact that Lucy and James are descended from a warlock, because Tessa is part warlock, which means they are descended from a demon, I have a theory there. I'm not going to say it, but it's very season 5 supernatural, if you know what I mean. So that'll be fun. And that is my update. I feel like this is going to be such a long vlog because I just have so many thoughts about Chain of Gold. I mean, how could you not? Also, one other thing I forgot to mention earlier. Let me find the page. I found a typo in my book earlier. And it's not like even a chill thing, like a regular word on page 258, and I have the collector's first edition. I don't know if that makes a difference when it comes to printings, but on page 258 at the bottom, and it's not going to focus on this, but it spells Lucy's name Lucy, which is traditionally how you do spell Lucy, but every single other time Lucy's name is said, it's Lucie. And it's not talking about a different Lucy, we're talking about Lucy Herondale right here. And it's spelled wrong. And I'm never gonna forget that fact. It, like, in a year from now, when the next book is out and I'm trying to remember what happened in this one, that's what I'm gonna remember. Instead of the demon fights and the couples and stuff, that's gonna be the annoying fact I remember, because that's how my brain works. Anyway, that is my update for tonight. I will see you tomorrow. Hello, it is Saturday night. I am about 350 pages into Chain of Gold. I think I'm starting to be able to guess some things that are going to happen. This is a Cassandra Clare book. I could never actually guess the ending, but some things are starting to fall into place. One, I think I'm starting to guess some of the couples, although to be fair, one of those guesses I saw as a spoiler on Instagram because I clicked on some fan art not knowing who it was, and I read the caption and I was like, damn it. But I am starting to guess some of the other couples as well, and the development with the demon and the Pyxis is interesting. I don't have any idea who could be behind this whole thing, but I'm having some ideas of stuff. I'm not having a lot of ideas, but it's a Pyxis, a demon that was put in a Pyxis, which is the little box that can hold a demon that was in, I think that appears in Infernal Devices and somewhere in the Mortal Instruments, but I do want to get quite a big chunk read tonight. I've been reading a bit today. I've read maybe like 50 pages, so not a lot. Cassandra Clare books are long, so they take some time, but I'm enjoying it. I will say, obviously I don't know how it ends yet, so my opinion may change. This book is going to be a 5 stars just because Cassandra Clare, I love her writing so much. I love her characters. I will say though, this does not come on par with any of the other books necessarily, because I have been so lost trying to figure out what's going on half the time that I haven't been able to enjoy it as much as some other ones, so I will say that. And that's kind of been the thought process I've heard from a few people so far, just because there's a lot going on and there's a lot of characters, and trying to remember whose child is related to who. I'm going to share my little note thing. My phone's going to die, but I have this notes in my phone, which I don't know if the camera will focus, but I'll read it to you. So I literally have a note in my phone so I can try and remember who is related to who. So Will and Tessa have James and Lucy, and then Cecily and Gabriel, which I don't know if that's how you say her name, they have Christopher and Anna Lightwood. And then Charlotte and Henry have Charles and Matthew, and Matthew's the younger one, and Matthew is parabatai with James. And then Gideon and Sophie have Thomas, Barbara, and Eugenia Lightwood. And then there is Cordelia Carstairs, who was related to Alistair Carstairs, and they of course are both related to Jem. I think they're like distant cousins, but there's more characters than that. These are just the ones I've deemed important enough to take note of. And then I finally figured out who everyone is in these pictures because I asked on Instagram. So if I am not mistaken, how she sent it to me, but it, like, the photo disappeared. It's Christopher or Kit, Alistair. That's Anna Lightwood. That was one of my mistakes. I thought that was Matthew. I don't know. I believe this is Thomas. This is James, which I got, and then this is Lucy. This is Cordelia, and this is Matthew. Oh, and then this is Jessie and Grace Blackthorn. I don't trust either of them, just saying. But yeah, I'm figuring things out. There's a lot of characters, but I'm gonna go read for a little bit and I will update you later. Hello, it is 1:43 in the morning, which is so far past my bedtime. It's Sunday, by the way. I guess it's Monday now, not important. I finished Chain of Gold, and I'm so tired, and I feel like this wrap up is going to be just a lot of messy thoughts, and maybe I'll talk more in the morning, but so much happened. Okay, 1, my season 5 prediction of Supernatural was mostly right. I liked it. It was fun. 2, 2, Grace Blackthorne, still don't trust her. There's something up with her. And with that, my theory for the next book, I don't know, I think this is going to be a trilogy, like Dark Artifices. But anyway, my theory is that Grace has James under a spell, and it's in that bracelet because Demon Guy said something about bracelet, and he acted different when he wasn't wearing the bracelet because he acted in love with Cordelia when he didn't have the bracelet on, and then he puts the bracelet on when she comes back, and he's like, oh, actually, did I love Grace the whole time? No, you don't love Grace. She's evil. I don't know how, but she is. I know it. I don't like her. I don't like her because James and Cordelia, I truly think, could be like Will and Tessa. I think that they have that same sort of passion that Will and Tessa have, and that's going to be interesting to read in the next book. I am so tired. I cannot formulate my thoughts. Okay, I think Cordelia and James are meant to be, but Grace is going to get in the way of that, and James isn't even going to realize what's happening, and it sucks because Cordelia really does love James, and I'm mad. 3. This is why I don't stay up until 2 in the morning. Okay, Alistair, really actually grew to love him. He was actually kind of great. I don't really understand, like, I get that he was a bully in school, and I get that Matthew hates him, but why does Matthew hate him so much? It's a little aggressive, like, and especially he, like, was trying to apologize, and Matthew was still like, no. So that was weird. Speaking of Matthew, I think Magnus is going to help. Also, Magnus came. It's not a Shadowhunters book until Magnus is here to bail these idiots out. But yes, Magnus is back. Was saying he's like, I'm gonna have to stay longer to help these stupid idiots. So specifically Matthew, I think Magnus is going to be the one that'll be able to pull him out of whatever he's going through. I mean, we're obviously going to dive a lot deeper into Matthew's story, I think, because he holds a lot of guilt. I don't fully understand why. It's not explained in this one. 600 pages and it's not explained. Ridiculous. I think Magnus will be the one to really help him through that. I really like Matthew. I think it's a super cool thing. He is bisexual, maybe pansexual. He doesn't really say either way. Cordelia is so cool with that. Also, a theory, it's not explicitly stated, but I think Matthew is in love with Cordelia. That's not going to end well. We've got another Will, Jim, Tessa situation. Literally, it's literally a Will, Tessa, Jim situation. But that ends okay. I mean, sort of. Matthew, 1, he needs to stop drinking. 2, he needs to figure out whatever guilt is going on, and I think Magnus will help him. Also, there is more about Anna Lightwood in this one, and that's interesting. I think she will be much more of a main character in the other books. She only got like 1 scene from her perspective in this book, but I really like her. She's cool. So Christopher Lightwood, he doesn't really have anything going on. He's funny, but there's nothing happening. Thomas Lightwood, my prediction is him, well, my prediction was him and Alistair could be a couple, but at this point, there's gonna have to be a lot of healing going on for that to happen. We'll see. I think it would be cute, but I also am not fully sure who Thomas likes. They had moments in Paris where I thought that is what Thomas was feeling, but maybe he just wants to be Alistair's friend. I mean, I don't think so, but we'll see. The big villain in this book I think is super exciting. I think it's gonna be really cool. Definitely getting those supernatural vibes, and like it's gonna be really interesting, I think. Oh, Lucy. Nothing's really happening with Lucy. She kind of ends up pretty normal. She can still talk to ghosts and stuff. I think she's gonna get herself into some trouble with Grace Blackthorne and getting too wrapped up in the Blackthorne family, but she'll figure it out. I almost think Lucy and Matthew could be a thing, because Matthew obviously really cares for Lucy, but it seems like Lucy doesn't care for Matthew in the same way, which is confusing. Maybe it's just because she sees Matthew as her brother's parabatai, and also Matthew's a hot mess, so I don't know. The bonus story about Will and Tessa, beautiful. beautiful. I absolutely loved it. I love Will and Tessa so much. I love Tessa and Jem too, don't get me wrong. But like Will and Tessa, they do something to my heart. With that though, at one point I was reading and it was a conversation between Tessa, Will, and James, and Cordelia was there. But they were just talking and I was just thinking, sitting there, I'm like, so we've seen the scene where Will dies. I don't remember in which book that's referenced, but it talks about how Tessa was doing that, I should go back and read that because I think James was there. And maybe Lucy would have been. Anyway, I just had the realization. I'm just sitting here trying to read the end of the Shadowhunters book, just, living. But Tessa not only will have to watch Will die, which is something she's always been prepared for. She's always known that's gonna happen. She will continue to live and he won't. But I didn't think about the fact she's gonna have to watch her kids die too at one point, which is just... And like, she'll have her grandchildren, and I'm sure she still keeps in touch with whoever is down the line. I don't know who descends from Will. And actually, the Lost Tarendelle, it's a whole thing. I just hope I don't ever have to read that. I cannot read a scene where Tessa has to watch James or Lucy die. I cannot be a part of that. Okay, yeah, I feel like I've been talking for a long time and I don't know if any of it has made sense. There's a reason why I'm someone who goes to bed at a semi-reasonable time. This is way too late for me. But I finished it this weekend, so I'm really happy. I have no idea what I'm picking up next. I will update you tomorrow. I'm exhausted and I kind of have to be up early because I'm giving blood tomorrow, so I love that I planned this out so well. I will update you tomorrow. Hello, an update from Monday night. I decided to pick up Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas next. I have had this on my TBR for so long, I don't even want to talk about it. Like, I bought it years ago. And I actually have already started, and I'm actually 150 pages in on chapter 21. I do like it so far. I didn't like Selena at first, but she's really growing on me. I like her personality and just sort of the sass that she brings, but she's also very like double-sided in a good way, like three-dimensional, I should say. She likes dresses and dressing up, but she's also, straight up an assassin. I'm not sure how I feel about reading a story from the point of view of an assassin yet. Like, she has killed humans and I'm not sure how I feel about that yet, but it is good so far. I think my favorite character might actually be hold on, there's a pronunciation guide in the back and I'm going to reference it so I don't mess this up. Choal. I don't like that. That's such an awkward name to try and pronounce, but Choal. I feel like it's like Gale but with a K, but also there's like an extra syllable almost. I don't know, but I like him a lot. I feel like he's starting to really care for Selena, but he's not gonna show it. The prince, I think, also in his own way is intrigued by Selena. I don't know if he truly cares for her. I don't know how much this series focuses on romance compared to A Court of Thorns and Roses. I'm pretty sure it's a Sarah J. Maas book. Let's just be real here. There's gonna be, some fun little steamy scenes. I don't know if it's gonna happen in this one. I'm slowly learning all the different characters and like the lore. I would really like to see more into her past. I know The Assassin's Blade, I think, is the prequel for this one that shows more of her life of an assassin before she was captured and enslaved, and I think that would be really interesting. I don't know what order to read these books in. I have a screenshot of my phone, on my phone, that's like the order to read them in. The only bad thing I have to say is, who is this on the cover? It's not Selena. This is not at all how she's described to look. This looks like a fairy or like a mythical creature. So who is this? I have a theory that maybe she has some connection to magic and fae. She says she used to have some magic, but like, who is that? And I guess the old cover makes a little bit more sense now, because the old cover has got like the live picture of a model with like regular blonde hair, which is what she's described to look like. Is that cover good? No, it's hideous, but like, why did they draw her like that? I'm so confused. Like, this is white hair and she's described as having golden blonde hair, so at some point does she bleach her hair? as part of some big transformation so she can look like this. I don't know. That seems highly unlikely in this world. I think I'm gonna try and finish tomorrow. I feel like I could do it. I feel like I could read the whole rest of this tomorrow because I don't have any other plans. So that is my update. I'm finally hopping on the Throne of Glass train. I am so many years late. Also, I always forget I have a signed copy of Throne of Glass. I bought it used. My name's not Alyssa, but this was signed, which is pretty cool, even if it's not actually addressed to me. But I'm going to head to bed, and I will update you tomorrow when I'm reading more of this. Hello, it is Wednesday night, and I have just finished Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas, and I have a lot of thoughts, okay, and none of them are going to be organized. One, I don't like the covers, and I think I said that in the last clip, but this is nothing what Selena looks like, and it's going to drive me crazy for the rest of eternity that these covers are just they're not it. Number two, not really having anything to do with the plot or my thoughts, but there is a scene in here with Selena once she's been at the palace for a couple months or so. She talks about how she's gained a lot of the weight back from being a slave and not eating anything, and she's starting to get healthier again, and because of that her period returns and she has these terrible cramps and feels so sick, and it's like a whole scene, and I love it. Not once have I ever read a scene in a fantasy YA book that mentions periods. Like, it was just so good. Sarah J. Maas, you're out here doing some real cool things. I loved it. Something like that might happen in A Court of Thorns and Roses, but not off the top of my mind. But like in any other fantasy book, that would never come up, and I loved it. Plot-wise, I don't know. It was really, really good, especially the ending, and I think the thing that really made me love this book was that I love Selena. At first, I remember thinking, like, I'm not sure about this. She's literally an assassin. I'm not sure about this, like, sort of morally gray character, but by the end, not to be dramatic, but I would die for her. I would die for her, or she could kill me. I don't even care. It'd be Selena. I'm totally chill with that. I love her. I will say though, I feel like I was sort of sold a different book than what I actually read. I'm not sure if that makes much sense. But like the tagline, 2 men love her, the whole land fears her, only she can save them all. None of that happened in this book. None of it. I guess 2 men love her, but Dorian, I'm not convinced truly loves her. I don't hate him. I didn't trust him for like 75% of the book, but he started to do things that I'm like, okay, fine, maybe you're not the evil crown prince, but I still don't love him, but I just don't know if he loves Selena truly, or he's just like infatuated with her. I definitely don't think she likes him as much as he likes her, and I'm not sure either of their feelings could be equated to love for one another. Choal, which that name does not roll off the tongue. I love him. I would also die for him. Like, he has to be protected. If he does not make it out of this 10-book series, I don't know how many books are in this series, alive and well and happy, I'm gonna have to talk to Sarah J. Maas, okay? Anyway, I love him. He's great, and I think he actually does really love Selena. I'm not sure he knows it, but the way he wants to care for her and protect her, but also admires how incredible she is, he loves her. But that being said, fun fact about me, sometimes I get impatient with books and I just like to look up spoilers, but I don't like Google what happens in this book. What I'll do is I'll look up fan art and like specifically look for spoilers of stuff that I haven't read yet in fan art. So I know that when it comes down to it, Selena does not end up, I think, with Dorian or Choal, which is sad because I love him so much and he deserves everything in the world. What I heard, and I was talking to some people on Instagram who have read all these books, because like I said, I fish for spoilers, because I had put some stuff on my Instagram story and people were answering my questions for me. What I am understanding is that Sarah J. Maas had a plan for this book, but then she kind of switched gears partway through and it just took a different direction, like the characters just led her somewhere else. So that's kind of what happens. From what I understand, there is a different sort of faded love interest introduced later in the series, I want to say in book 3, which I don't don't know how I feel about that. I feel like in so many of my favorite series, it's a fated love interest from the beginning, and even if they aren't together the whole time, they are, you know, their start to beginning. And I don't know how I feel about that, especially when this book is like, two men love her, who will she end up with? And like, one, she doesn't even acknowledge that Kale likes her, like, at all. They kind of begrudgingly become friends by the last like fourth of the book, but like, that one didn't make much sense. That was really overselling the whole love triangle thing. She has a different love interest later. Neither of them, I think, really come into play. I think maybe in the second book she will start to pick one or the other. I'm leaning towards Kale, I'm hoping. Dorian, I think, had his moments in this book, but I don't know if anything else is going to happen. Or maybe it's going to be like a she's kind of into both of them kind of situation in the second book. I don't know. But all that being said, from what I understand with a lot of the people I've spoken to about this series, is that it does sort of get better with each book. Almost like, one, this is Sarah J. Maas's debut novel, so she's falling into her writing style and she's falling into what she wants this world to actually become. In the acknowledgements of this one, she said she spent a long, like a decade on this book, and so to sit with this one book for so long and then have the chance to develop this world into, it's like 8 books in the series, I think it will get better and better as we go. Okay, I've been rambling for so long that my camera cut me off, but like I was saying, I like characters and I am really invested in who they are, what their lives are, and in like the plot that they are participating in, but also I love a romance and it's really important to me in the story. So I'm a little meh about what the romance of this series is going to be. I don't know how I feel that it's not one character or like one couple the whole series, but who knows, maybe when I meet the love interest in the third book, I'm gonna be so in love with him that I don't even care about anything I'm saying right now. But because I want to know if that is going to be the case, my next book is going to be Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas. I'm going to be honest, didn't know I owned this, but I'm glad I do, and I thought Crown of Midnight was like the 4th or 5th book, but it's not, it's the 2nd book, so I can just go ahead and pick this right up. I'm going to pick this up tomorrow. It's about the same length as Throne of Glass. It's like literally like 6 pages longer. Also totally just read the last page and saw a spoiler. That's another thing I do sometimes. Not sometimes, in almost every book I read I look ahead. I don't always look at the last page, but like I just flip through, I'm like, what looks interesting. Also, one other thing, Caltaine, the character in Throne of Glass, I don't know if she's gonna make a reappearance. I think she might. Every single time I saw the name, I said Caitlin. Every single time, because it's just the letters for Caitlin mixed around. So she should have just been named Caitlin. I'm rambling a lot and I have way too much energy for it being midnight. I'm gonna start Crown of Midnight tomorrow and I will update you then. Hopefully I'll be able to finish this in a couple days like Throne of Glass. So that is it. This was a really long update. This is gonna be a really long vlog because I read Chain of Gold and Throne of Glass and now I'm reading this. So I will update you tomorrow. Hello, it is Sunday and I thought I would do one last clip to close out this reading vlog because I was editing it last night and it is so long. But as you can see, one, I got my hair done on Friday. I changed up the color a little bit, just put some like highlights and lowlights in, and I got some of these bangs. It looked a lot better yesterday when I had styled it and everything, but I didn't get a clip yesterday and this is my slept on hair. But I really like it. I thought I would just do some closeout reading updates because I don't think I updated on my audiobooks this week much at all, but I did actually finish quite a few. I think last I said is I finished the Honey Don't list, which I really enjoyed, and then I also read Conventionally Yours, which I don't think I did any wrap-up thoughts on that, but I really loved it. It was such a good romance book, and it was also really good like friendship book. Like they really were able to build on their friendship before they built on like a romantic relationship, and it was everything I wanted, like a nerdy like Comic-Con type of book to be. I really loved it because I've only read a couple other nerdy books like that, and for the most part they've always disappointed me, like Geekerella by Ashley Poston. I hated that book, and this was what I wanted out of that book. Like, the way that they talked about the game was just so much fun, and I really, really loved it. Do I know anything about tabletop games? Not a thing. All I know is that that's what they play in Stranger Things. I really, really love the way they talked about it, and just going to the con and like talking to people and meeting people. It was really cool. The next audiobook I listened to was The Accidental Beauty Queen by Terry Wilson, which was a recommendation from a friend, which I did really like it. I just think that the romance could have been a little bit more developed. Like, it wasn't focused on as much as I wanted it to be, but it was okay. I think it would be like a 3 or 4 stars. And lastly, I also picked up The Wedding Party by Jasmine Gilroy. That is the 3rd book in the Wedding Date series. I really enjoyed this one. It followed Maddie and Theo, which are 2 of Alexa's best friends from The Wedding Date, and it was sort of a similar situation as like The Proposal, where they didn't really like each other so much at first, but they were just going to be together, and it was just going to be like a casual thing, and then they both pretty quickly fall in love with each other without realizing it. So that was a really cute story, and I really enjoyed it. And then the next audiobook I have started is Royal Holiday by Jasmine Gilroy, which is the 4th in the Wedding Date series, and then the 5th I think just came out this week, but I have it on hold at the library. Royal Holiday, I'm only 17% in, so I don't really have any thoughts. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I didn't realize it's going to be following Maddie's mom, and they are on holiday for Christmas in England at this literal, like, this castle. I don't really know what it is. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about following a protagonist that's like so much farther from my age group. See how it is. It's a really short audiobook, and I want to just like be reading this whole series, so I'm gonna finish it, but we will see how that one goes. As for a reading update on my physical book, I am 200 pages into Crown of Midnight. I was gonna read some more yesterday, but I didn't. I'm hoping to still maybe finish this today or tomorrow. It was really happy for about 2 chapters, and then everything went really, really badly. We'll see where this goes. It's interesting knowing a little bit more of the ending than someone who's reading this series for the first time should know, but like, to know that she doesn't end up with choal is confusing to me. Like, how could you be with him and not love him? I just don't get it. He's literally perfect and I love him. But that is my thoughts so far on that, and I think that's gonna go ahead and wrap up this reading vlog. It's really long. I hope you enjoyed, even though it was so long. If you stuck around to the end, thank you. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye!